For it. Hey, I think we're here. I think we're live broadcasting now. That's
Yeah.
exciting. Hey everybody, I'm Scott, and we're doing a 100,000 subscriber live Q&A. Chris is also here. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
There he is,
You
right
said
there.
say hi, Chris. I just follow in
You
order.
did. You're really good at that. Bryce unfortunately got some wires crossed. I think that's a saying, and he was not able to make it because I just texted him, and I was like, "Hey, Bryce, are you gonna join the Q&A?" He's like, "When was that again?" I'm like, "Literally right now," and he's like, "Oh, then no, I'm not going to be able to." But yeah, so how this will work, hopefully you guys will be just content with us too. How this works is we're going to be doing my chair is squeaky. I'm going to try to fix that. We're going to be doing a live Q&A, and that the Q&A portion will be taking place on Google+. There should be a link somewhere on the screen if you're watching it on YouTube or anything like that, and where you guys can just go and ask questions. And if you see a question that you want answered, you can +1 it, and that way people will be able to, or those questions will be ranked higher so that we can see them more. So instead of posting multiple of the same question, if you see one you like, just give it a thumbs up, and then we'll go from there. Does that sound good to you, Chris?
Sure. Yes. I'm still a little bitter over my poor video quality. It bothers me.
Yeah, it is a little odd,
Google
isn't
Hangouts.
it?
I want to ask Google Hangouts a question. How's that for live Q&A?
Yes. All right. Go for it.
Google, why are you ruining my video quality?
He usually looks a lot better over Skype, but for some reason Google Hangouts doesn't look super great. All right, so we're getting viewers just kind of slowly ushering in now, which is cool. Let's go ahead and start it off with as a very simple one, the very top one on the list, the top question, which is from Sheldon, that says, "What do you think of the new Daredevil show on Netflix?" We did a podcast about it.
Yes.
So that's what we think about it. Oops, I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, no, I'm still working out how to do all this stuff over on the side. Yeah, no, it's really we really enjoyed it a lot.
Yes.
Just to give it just sum it all up, it was really, really good. So anything you want to add there, Chris?
It was really good. Definitely have some thoughts about it, which I tried to say on the podcast, but for the most part, success.
Yeah, somebody actually just tweeted a couple minutes ago, and you remember how we didn't know if Vanessa was a character from the comics or not?
Right.
Well, apparently she is. So there we go. So we all look like idiots.
Yes,
and that's
again.
Yep. That's what we aim for, I think. All right, cool. Here's one that a lot of people have been +1ing. I don't know if that's the term for that, which is bloop. From Ethan, who is your favorite Marvel character? Which is a good question. Chris, do you want to field this one first?
That's a hard question to answer because there's only roughly 1 billion of them. But right. I don't want to seem basic or anything, but I want to say Venom, specifically Eddie Brock as Venom. I don't know why. He's just always a character that appealed to me. For some reason,
yeah.
First thing that came to mind,
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a very similar field where my absolute favorite Marvel character of all time is Spider-Man, and that's even more generic to say. Like, I don't know if people want there to be a very an answer that is super specific. Like if I say, "Oh, well, obviously Will-O-the-Wisp is my favorite Marvel character of all time," like, yeah, what? That's ridiculous. Spider-Man. There's that. I don't know who Bryce is. I was going to see if I can answer for Bryce, but I'm not going to do that. Bryce's favorite character is Will-O-the-Wisp. So
yes,
there you go. Other questions. Also, just a couple more people have joined. So I just wanted to say all the Q&A stuff is going on at Google+, not YouTube. So you can do that. And make sure you +1 questions so that you can they rank higher so we can see them, because I'm basically just pulling them off the list as they go right now. Let's see. All right, this is a cool one. It's about Marvel again. It is, if you could have any Marvel weapon, what would you have? This is from Mr. Pugaboy. Nice. And they said they would have Thor's hammer. So any Marvel weapon, what would it be? My first thought would be like, I would love an Iron Man suit, but also
I was just thinking that same thing because I was looking at the little figurine here. I was like, oh, Iron Man suit.
Iron Man would be cool, but also I don't know. I like Spider-Man, so web shooters would be neat as well. But I would just only use them for laziness. Like, I would just reach across the room instead of having to get up. I would just thwip and grab something to it. I wouldn't like use them as Spider-Man would use. And then they'd make a mess everywhere. And then what happens when I run out of web cartridge fluid stuff? I'd have to either make my own, which I don't know how to do. It's just a hassle. Iron Man suit seems pretty okay. Low maintenance, I assume. I don't actually know.
Yeah, well, I was funny enough. I was just watching the first Iron Man movie yesterday, and it seemed like Tony had a heck of a time learning how to fly it. So I'm not going to say the Iron Man suit because I don't really have a good answer, and I'm looking at all my assorted tchotchkes for inspiration. But I don't know. I would say Captain America's shield because that seems like a pretty handy thing to have. But you got to be pretty strong to lug around that thing all day.
It's supposed to be relatively light, right?
Really? I mean, I'm not strong enough to throw it, though. See, I know.
That's all right. Fair enough. I can't remember the specs off the top of my head, although they are saved on my computer somewhere about the actual weight of the shield. It's not terribly heavy, but the thing about that is, like, even if you were to throw it, it's not like it magically comes back to you. You have to train to how to do that.
Very impractical.
Yeah, it's cool to like show off. Sure, definitely. I will change my answer now that I thought about it, and I'll say the Coulson's. I'll say Coulson's destroyer gun that he used in the Avengers.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Just because it only has one purpose, and I guarantee I'll never shoot anybody with it. But it might be fun just to like hold it and light it up and everything. Plus, I love Coulson. If
we're not going to get technical about it, I guess my actual answer would be Wolverine's claws, because even though they hurt whenever he unleashes them, it's still a pretty good thing to have because you can't really lose them, considering what they're made of, and they're pretty sharp and they're always with you. It seems like a pretty good thing to have.
Now, would you have a healing factor along with that, or would you just every time you pop them out and put them back in, you just be bleeding a lot?
I would prefer to have the healing factor. Yeah.
Well, that's not a part of the question, so you can't.
Darn it! I picked the wrong one.
I'd say before we move on, I just want to know if you have any DC weapons, because that seems like a good additional part to this question. My instinctive thought was Aquaman's trident. I think would be neat to have. Again, not a purpose that I would use it for in the world, but it would be just cool to own, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe like Batman's Thrasher suit or something, which is basically an Iron Man suit. So I don't know.
That's actually a really good question too, because the DC characters are arguably a little more diverse with their weaponry.
Lasso of Truth. You got.
I was just thinking that would be really useful. Like, are you lying to me? Tell me. Then you got to carry the whip around, and
Yeah, I think probably the obvious one would be like a Green Lantern ring, because then you can just do anything.
But which one though? I think I'd take the green one though. That'd be,
probably orange for me, so that I could summon sentient beings and pretend I have friends. There you go.
Oh, sad.
All right.
Feels.
That's the end of that question. That's a good one. Here's one similar. If you were to have any X-Men's power, who would it be? Well, you already talked about Wolverine.
Yeah. Well, that was Marvel as a whole. I can pick a specific X-Man power.
Do you have one off the top of your head right now?
Not really, but there's a lot of them. I want to say Professor Xavier, even though he's not really a fisticuffs, fighter. I really like the whole idea of him and his mental prowess.
Sure. I think for me, it's tempting to say someone like Jean Grey because telekinesis would just be super
Yeah.
convenient.
Well,
But
I was gonna say
also,
Psylocke, by the way.
oh,
Along,
okay,
you know.
that's good too. I was gonna say my first instinct was either Kitty Pryde or Nightcrawler because I like
Right.
teleporting, but I also like, I don't know, I like the idea of being able to walk through walls. I don't know why. Like I can't think of a reason why I would need that in real life other than
Right.
just I wouldn't have to use doors, I
Oh, that
guess.
that would be
Like
cool because then nobody could hide from you, man. You could just go wherever you want. You
why
know.
would anyone but why would I be like hunting anyone that's trying to hide from me is
Oh,
the
I could think of
question.
100 reasons. Right.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. I would I mean, I guess if I had to choose one, I don't know. It's so tempting to just yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with Nightcrawler because I feel like teleportation is really cool. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna say.
As long as you don't cut, things on your skin and turn blue, that would be weird.
Yeah, well, I would like to have a tail though.
Oh, that would be cool.
That
Yeah.
would be kind of neat. So it's a win-win for me, I think.
Right.
What did you say? You said Professor X?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Then we have answered that question. Is there anything you just want to say while we're in between questions? Putting you on the
No.
spot? No, not at all. This is a very, very specific one. It is, if you were a speedster, would you want to be the Flash or Quicksilver? This is from Slick Bomb 509. I don't think I said who wrote in the last question, but so
Sorry about that.
would you rather be Flash or Quicksilver? That's for me. That's a very obvious one. I would definitely
really?
want to be the Flash. Yeah.
Why?
Sure. Flash can go faster. He has different abilities. It's not just the super speed. He can do all sorts of interesting I mean, here's the thing. I'm not super read up on Quicksilver, so I don't know if he can just vibrate through other dimensions or time travel or anything like that. But I know Flash can, and that sounds fun.
Well, I would say the Flash, but as of lately, I think I might have to say Quicksilver because I enjoy his kind of attitude about things, and I like the idea of his dynamic with his sister. I like that the way they bounce off of each other. That way, I can kind of relate, having siblings myself. So
Okay, so it's more just like you like the partnership of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and that draws you more to say you want to be Quicksilver, or as opposed to Flash.
I kind of like his costume a little better too. I mean, the Flash is cool and everything, but Quicksilver, I think he looks cooler. Just me personally, I know somebody's going to shoot me for saying that, but
Have you seen his more recent costume in the comics right now? It's a bit.
yeah.
I don't really know how I feel about it because I'm trying to read through Uncanny Avengers, and I don't know. He almost feels like a hockey player almost, but with less padding. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels it feels like his costume was designed for someone who has ice powers, but it's
Right.
super speed. I guess that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
But hey, Avengers, that'll be fun to see them.
Yes. I'm a huge fan of Aaron Taylor Johnson ever since he debuted on the American movie scene. I've been a huge fan, so can't wait to see that.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I know him personally.
Oh yeah?
Don't ask me for his number.
Hook me up, man. I want to meet him.
You called my bluff. I don't know. All right. Let's see. Here's a good one. This is from Alex Broom. What do you think of the new Ant-Man movie, and when is it coming? Well, when is it coming? You probably just Google that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer off the top of my head. Sometime this year. But what do we think about it? We never talked about the new trailer for it. Did you see the second trailer for it?
I did.
What do you think?
I think it's looking better and better. I'm a little worried because based on the trailer alone, like being extremely judgmental here, it seems a little default, in much the same way that people said Guardians of the Galaxy was, like they're just kind of following the formula. But I'm not gonna hop off the bandwagon just yet. I'm still disappointed that Edgar Wright is not on the project, but I'm very optimistic because it looks like it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think the second trailer it's it looks way better than the first trailer, though, in terms of tone and everything that's going on. I will say I like it. There was a part in the second trailer that looked really interesting where like they were setting up this premise for like, he's a thief, so he needs to break in and steal some stuff. And I was like, yes, heist movies. I love heist movies. They're great. And then the more the trailer went on, the more it just kind of seemed like, I guess, weird action movie instead of heist movie. I guess the way that I would want the Ant-Man movie to go is if it was focused a little bit more on intricate heist with like a side of superhero stuff than for it to be like superheroes, like generic superhero stuff with like a little taste of a heist movie inside of it. I guess that's my opinion. But it does look pretty good. I'm on board with you where I was super looking forward to it with Edgar Wright because he is... I think I'm pretty comfortable in saying he's my all-time favorite director of anything. I think so. It used to be Joss Whedon because Joss Whedon he's really good, but I'm gonna say Edgar Wright is just I haven't not liked a single thing that he's done. So
I have a hard time picking a favorite director, but I'm with Joseph Kosinski. He directed Tron Legacy and Oblivion, both of which are movies I absolutely adored. I think he's really good. He has excellent use of a soundtrack. He really knows how to pick good music. Scott looks distracted.
All right, 1 second. There's something happening.
This is what happens when we're live.
That's what happens when we're live. Sorry, there was somebody doing something. I was really confused. Right. I don't know if anybody could hear that. But yeah, man, looks pretty good. I'm excited for it. Next question. All right, here's one. Who is your favorite supervillain? Is there one whose personality / story you find really interesting? This is from Catherine Gates. There's a lot of questions about favorites, and I have a really hard time picking favorites.
Because then you always think of another one immediately afterwards.
With villains, I'm inclined to say Lex Luthor is really interesting, and which is weird because I'm not actually a fan of Superman comics. Like I don't like reading Superman comics, but Lex Luthor is really cool to me because of the many layers that he has for what makes up his personality. And like the last major Lex Luthor thing I read, like he's in Justice League or was, I don't know, I'm super behind on current comics, but he was he was really good in Forever Evil, which was like a long time ago. But I really enjoyed him in that. And I look forward to Jesse Eisenberg's performance in Batman v Superman. And I guess if off the top of my head, I would say Lex Luthor, but I'm sure there's another one that I like a lot. Dr. Octopus, maybe, but I don't know if I would. He's in the gray area where I sometimes classify him as a villain and sometimes don't. So I don't know. What do you think?
That's also a hard question for me because I'm like, I guess I go through mental phases where it's like I'm thinking about a certain villain. I'm like, yeah, he's cool, But one that comes to mind, I really like Deathstroke. Deathstroke is a really interesting character to me. I like his his whole mercenary type attitude. Scott, is there a spider on your wall? Are you watching it?
No, sorry. I'm looking at my comics and I'm trying to see if anything else jogs a memory of like a villain that
that's what I was doing too. I've got like 100,000 movies here and I'm looking at them. I was gonna say Red Mist from Kick-Ass because I like that. His name is Chris. Also, I like that character because when I read the book and when I saw the movie, I really felt bad for him. Because he's one of those sympathetic villains, and I really felt bad for him that I related.
That's the kind of thing that I like in villains is when you can make it so you can almost kind of see their side, where you can almost be like, yeah, they're kind of right about a lot of stuff. I don't like villains that are just evil for the sake of being evil. I like the ones that are like, you can see their point of view and almost kind of relate to them. And that's what we talked about with Kingpin, or Fisk on Daredevil, where there were parts where you were like, man, I kind of really like this guy, and I almost kind of want him to win, but I know he's a bad guy, so I shouldn't be rooting for him. And a lot of layers to that character as well. That's good. So I guess that's that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see. We've already done this, but we'll address it really quickly. We've done this on a podcast before, which is if you could choose more heroes from Marvel to get their own show on Netflix. But this is like specifically Netflix. Who would it be? Personal picks for this person who is Lazar. Oh my gosh, my screen is so horrible.
Lazar Lilac. Lilac.
Yep, let's do that. Their personal picks are Punisher and Moon Knight, and I would say I'm 100% on board with Moon Knight. I've been trying. Right. So like there was something that somebody suggested a while ago, which was that what if Moon Knight made a cameo appearance in like all the Netflix series in like the background as his multiple personalities, which I think would be amazing. Yeah, Moon Knight is one of my favorite characters at the moment, and I think he fits so perfectly into the Netflix Marvel world that I'm 100% on board with that choice. What do you think?
I have to say a character that's already been kind of done, but I feel like Blade needs another chance because I love Blade. He's a really cool character. You know, he's not like your typical superhero. He's very atypical in just about every way. And I know Blade has not been received well in the past, but I really like Blade. And as a testimony to that, Blade was a character in the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. And if you were to play those games, you can see he has like a pretty vast array of things he can do, which the movies kind of gloss over, and I think it would just be really cool to see him, fully fleshed out directly from Marvel, directly from the source.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. I could see him fitting into that world quite nicely. The one that I was gonna say I would like Ghost Rider to get like an actual really good thing, but I don't know if I could see Ghost Rider in that.
I'm still mad about Ghost Rider because they ruined Blackheart. What kind of Twilight Blackheart did they have in that movie, man? I mean, come on. I was expecting the big, shadowy character. So
well, but you can't go wrong with Nicolas Cage. Am I right?
No, never. He's always cool. He's like Liam Neeson, always cool.
Yeah. Oh man, I was about to say we should get Liam Neeson to play in a Marvel movie. Has he already been one?
He was a superhero, but not a Marvel character. He was Darkman. Okay.
Oh, and he was also in Batman.
He was Ra's al Ghul.
Batman Begins. Yeah. I'm sure he'll play something. It'd be cool to see him in stuff. All right. Next question. This is a fun one. It gets us. This is from Queensley. I think that's an I or lowercase l. If you become a superhero, what would you want your costume to look like? And I'm gonna say iconic as a reference to Invincible. But I don't really know. I mean, I could. My favorite color is green, so maybe something with a green with some black and white. Basically, I want to look like Green Lantern, and that's it. I don't know. I can't give you an exact word picture of what I want a costume to look like. Not something form-fitting, because I'm not in the best of shape. I don't really know. What do you think? Any thoughts?
I tend to prefer cloaks and capes, not necessarily Superman kind of cape, but sort of like if you were to exist in the world of Bram Stoker's Dracula or Castlevania, what would you wear? That kind of thing. I like masks, but like full head masks, things that actually hide your identity, not just look at my stubble. Right.
I don't want any sort of mask that I have to put black paint on my eyes.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I don't want that.
I need the full Monty, actual mask.
I don't think I want a cape either. I think I want to keep it, like a suit. Yeah. Actually, here's what I want. I want to look like the Riddler with the green suit, and the hat and the cane, but not the mask. Because
what about the crazy red hair? You want the red hair?
I guess I'd have to wear some sort of weird wig, which then it would be like a hassle to like put on convincingly every time I wanted to do Riddler stuff. It's just, and I don't want question marks all over me either. That would just be, it would look bad. But like, just dress me up in like a nice green suit, maybe a bow tie. I don't know. That'd be neat.
Bow ties are cool.
Um,
I tend to prefer dark and brooding, so I like to look scary and sort of intimidating. So
Gotcha. I think I would prefer suave and kind of menacing in the way where I look like I have a lot of power, but
yeah,
not in the way that I would actually be able to kill you with my bare hands.
I just
Does that
annoy
make
you a
sense?
lot with a lot of questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a good one. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to read the questions before I put them up, just so if I want to know.
Got a lot of questions.
Yeah. Do you see any that you like that you want to answer?
Geez, don't put any pressure on me, man. You're the
I think you
host.
can answer them, or you can select them to be answered.
I don't know. There's too many, and they're getting kind of even in score.
I know. All right, here. I've been just doing from the top down, so let's just do that. Let's just continue doing that. And this is one from Garrett Lohewis. I'm going to say Lewis because I don't know how to pronounce people's last names. Comic book culture has gone from ridiculed to mainstream in the last couple of years. Have you personally noticed a difference in how our hobby is treated, and is the mainstream acceptance ultimately good for comics? I say absolutely mainstream acceptance is good for comics. I say the more people who are reading comics and who are aware of comics, the better. Like,
Right.
hands down. Like, that's it. Like, you can't work around that. You can't say like, I'm the kind of person who wants to share comics. I don't want to be like off in my little corner saying like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm reading comics and I'm so, in my own world, and I want to make sure that nobody else knows about this specific weird trivia that I know about with comic books. I want as many people to know. Ideally, I would want there to be a point where like comic misconceptions is basically obsolete because everybody knows everything about comics. Like, I want that to be a thing that happens in the future. But
yeah, just like common knowledge.
Yeah, I would want like a ton of people. I would want literally everybody to know the most obscure facts about comics because we all love it and we all can talk about it without having to explain a whole lot. Like, we can be like, oh, you remember like issue 186 of this? You're like, oh, do I? And then we
Right. Yeah. As for me, I'm not sure. I tend to resist mainstream things just out of habit. But the way I see it, I think it's a good thing that it started, especially with movies like Iron Man that kind of kick-started the whole craze in recent years, because, it wasn't that long ago that comics were still kind of considered a really nerdy, and by nerdy, I mean, frowned upon. But right. I think it's going to go full circle. I think now that everybody is into comics, I think it's going to become nerdy again, but it's going to be different than last time because now everybody thinks that they're a huge fan. Everybody thinks, that they're on the bandwagon, but there's still people out there that are really, really hardcore into it. And those people are ultimately going to separate from the mainstream. They're going to separate from the masses. You're not going to see them much, so I think certain parts of it, certain areas are going to become nerdy again. Does that make any sense? That's kind of a concept. Really.
Yeah, I guess my question then would be like, so you have the people who are like really, really into comics, who are like super hardcore, live and breathe and don't do anything else in the entire world but comics.
Right.
Do you think they're going to separate like purposefully from the people who are just kind of like hobby comic book fans, or even like, I don't consider myself a hardcore comics fan. I consider myself a person who likes comics. But so do you think they're going to purposely separate as a way to try and keep themselves feeling more, I guess, important than everybody else? Or do you think it's just going to be a natural progression that just happens?
I think the phrase birds of a feather flock together applies here. A good example that I noticed from personal experience is Dungeons and Dragons. Despite its popularity, it's still kind of looked at as kind of a really geeky thing. But if you notice, if you go to these really obscure shops where they sell little tchotchkes and things like that, they still have rooms separated for people that go and play Dungeons and Dragons, and you would have never known these places were there in your hometown, yet you drive by them every day. People are or place where people congregate. Excuse me. You know, I think
That's
it's something
true.
like that. People are going to separate because they have similar interests. You know what I mean? It's going to be more niche. Is that how you pronounce that
Yeah, I
word?
mean that especially rings true with for me because the local comic book shop around us
Hmm.
is it doesn't have a sign out front, so you don't
Yeah,
know that it
exactly.
exists unless you're told by other comics fans that it exists. So when I
Right.
was in high school, I had absolutely no idea that there was a comic store near me. When I was in college and I was visiting back home, I was like hanging out with my friends, and they would be like, "Oh, you want to go to the comic book store?" I'm like, "We have one?" And so it became this big thing where you only knew where it was if you were
Right.
told by another comics fan. And so I feel like maybe that's part of the dividing line a little bit where they almost it's I don't know if it's intentional or not, but that comic shop feels like they're trying to separate like, the hardcore fans and like the people who just like
Right.
saw Avengers. And I mean, my personal belief is just I want all of us to be one and be like, it doesn't matter if you've only seen like Iron Man from way back in the day, or if you have an encyclopedic knowledge of the entire DC universe. I feel like we should all just get together as people who like comics and enjoy it.
Right.
And I guess there are parts and groups that feel like almost kind of elitist in a way where if you don't know everything about Spider-Man, then you're not a true Spider-Man fan. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just shut up.
Well, I think it all boils down to how much importance you personally place on on the comics and everything. Because if you honestly care about the stories and about the characters, then it'll mean something to you. But you still have the people that are just totally oblivious to it all. They've never seen any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, and they just really don't care. They could care less. They might have some basic knowledge, like Peter Parker or Spider-Man, you know,
Sure.
but it all boils down to, how much does it really matter to you personally?
Right. I don't know if we're still on track with this question, but I
Probably
think
not.
we tackled a lot of good stuff, I think. And if anyone has any follow-up questions, you can do it. And just a reminder for anyone who is joining us late, all the Q&A stuff is happening on Google Plus, not YouTube. Just so there should be a link somewhere that you can go and click on it and join us. Or I put it on Twitter and Facebook as well. And then you can just +1 people's questions to vote to get us to answer stuff. It's as simple as that. So we're done with that question. Here's one that we kind of talked about a little bit on a podcast before. This is from Joshua Perez. What are your thoughts on the supposed Spider-Man 2099 movie coming out? And do you think a Spider-Man who is not Peter Parker will sell? I think it's weird because in a way you almost want to say like, oh, if it's not Peter Parker, then nobody's going to see it because nobody knows who anybody else is except Peter Parker or Spider-Man. But also, I feel like Marvel Studios and even just comic book movies in general are doing this thing where it doesn't matter if a broad audience knows what the characters are. If they just announce it, then you're going to get comic book channels all over the place going, hey, you don't know who the Inhumans are? Here's what you need to know
Like
about
comic
Inhumans.
misconceptions, right?
Right. So, I mean, I haven't done an Inhuman episode, but
Yeah.
like Variant and Comic Story and Comics Explained and all those people, they'll pop up and be like, oh, hey, so there's a Doctor Strange movie coming out. Here's what you need to know about Doctor Strange. So it doesn't matter if there is, at least to me, I don't think it matters if there's a Spider-Man movie who isn't Peter Parker, because the people that will go and see it are likely people who will do a little bit of research online and be like, oh, why is this Spider-Man, I don't know, Miles Morales or something, and then there's going to be a million videos about like who is Miles Morales that they can choose from.
I have to apologize. Somebody is cutting my grass again. I told him I would take care of that, and yet he's doing it for me. That's okay. I'll tell him thank you later.
Yeah, sure. But
yeah,
what do you think?
I don't want to be a hater and say no just because I prefer Peter Parker, but I think it'll sell. And I think people will go see it, but unless it's really, really good, like markedly better than the past Spider-Man movies, I think it's going to hit with kind of a thud. You know, I don't think it's going to exactly make a big impact. I think some people obviously be like, well, that was stupid, you know, because I mean, granted, who's going to go see the movie that doesn't know much about Spider-Man and then turn around and say, wow, that was better than regular Spider-Man? No, they're just going to be like, wow, that was different. Okay, back to life, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on a podcast before about with when Spider-Man, that whole announcement was made. I guess I want a bigger break between Spider-Man movies. You know, I want there to be a point where we just don't have a Spider-Man movie for like many years, so we can all just cleanse our palate a little bit and then introduce us a new take on the character.
The way they did with Batman, and then all of a sudden Nolan springs up with his incredible Batman Begins.
Yeah, and then of course we don't get any time between Dark Knight Rises and Batman Very Superman, and before we get another Batman.
Right.
But yeah, I think. But on the topic of Spider-Man 2099, I think I like the idea of there being a Spider-Man cinematic universe where every different movie is a different version of Spider-Man. So you could have Spider-Man 2099. Cool. We could have Spider-Gwen. That would be neat. Obviously, Ultimate Spider-Man. That would be so cool. And then they all merge together in one gigantic Avengers-esque Spider-Verse crossover movie, which would be fantastic.
Neat.
Yeah. Because then it wouldn't matter. But I mean, they're not going to do it because people are going to, I assume they're not going to do it because people are going to be like, well, I only know one Spider-Man. And if it's not Peter Parker, then you're not getting my money. And
no, there was people like that. They're like back when the Superior Spider-Man thing started, and well, spoilers for Superior Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus is the Superior Spider-Man. People were upset. You know, they were like, I'm never going to purchase a Spider-Man comic again. This is blasphemy. You know, people were very upset, and I thought it was cool. I thought he might have, you know, even been a better Spider-Man in some ways.
I know. I was sad to see it end. Actually,
it was so good, wasn't it?
So good. I mean, I will admit, I'll admit that I was one of the people at first who was like, "Oh, this is so dumb, a mind swap thing. Oh, give me a break." But then when you read it, it's like, "Well, hold on now. This is kind of interesting." And then it kept going. And it was a really fantastic run on Spider-Man, and I'm very, very happy with it, which is probably something they'll never adapt into a movie because, man, that would be confusing to people who have no idea what's going on.
Spider-Man? Why is Spider-Man killing people, Mommy? You know? Shot that man in the face.
He has to.
It'd have to be rated PG-13 at least.
Yep. So I'm going to answer this question right here. Do a Deadpool video.
Oh, I thought you were going to pick a different one. Yeah. Nope. Ricky, don't troll us.
Ricky, come on, man. But what is interesting is I just noticed today that Chris, both you and Ricky have the same last name. Are you guys related at all?
Maybe. Can't tell you that.
I will say that I'm planning, in heavy air quotes, I have a rough idea of what I want to do for the next Deadpool video. So it's not going to be anytime soon, but I'll probably do it eventually. All right, let's do a couple quick ones. So why are you so fashionable, says Raymond Yates. I'm
going to assume that was directed towards you, Scott.
I don't know, Chris. You're rocking the glasses right there. What are those?
Oh yeah, these are glasses because I'm nearsighted. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks good. What are they, black? What's your prescription? How does that?
A lot. My prescription is a thick, I guess you could say.
Fair enough.
Eyesight of a mole, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know which one of us is fashionable. I definitely don't consider myself fashionable. I wear bow ties sometimes, and I mean, my natural state of being is a button-up long sleeve shirt. I don't wear anything else around the house, rarely ever. There are sometimes I wear t-shirts if I'm being lazy, but even if I just wake up and I just hang out around the house editing videos, I'm always in like button up and jeans, regardless, because I don't know. I feel that's how I feel comfortable. Other people would wear pajamas. I wear jeans and a button up.
That's what I do when I'm at home. If I'm at work, I can pretty much wear whatever I want, but I try to dress office casual. I mean, obviously, part of the country I live, not many people care what you wear, but you know, I can pretty much wear what I want, but I try to look nice.
Right. Fair enough. Here's another really simple question, which is Max Schreibner asks, "Where's Bryce?" Yeah, if you were late, Bryce
We
is
don't
not
know.
going to be here. We don't know where he is. We've tried reaching out to his parents. We've tried issuing some sort of talking to the police about it. No, he didn't know when the live Q&A was, and so I texted him right beforehand, and I was like, "Hey, are you coming?" And he said, "When is it?" And I was like, "Right now." And he said, "Then no." So that's all the information I have. I'm sure he would have wanted to be here in spirit. So there's that. He is here in spirit. He probably would have wanted to be here in person, I guess, would be that. Let's see. Here's one that's interesting that I rarely ever think about, in all honesty, which is Nick V asks for congratulations on 100K. Yeah, thank you. 100,000 subscribers. Pretty awesome. What are your favorite comic book writers, and why is one of them Mark Waid? Is that what he's forcing that on us to say that Mark Waid is definitely one of our favorites? I honestly have no idea. I'm one of the terrible people that really doesn't pay attention too much to that. I'll say Gail Simone is really good at writing.
I like Alan Moore.
Oh yeah, Alan Moore is good. I'm trying to look at my list of people right here of my list. I don't know. I don't know. I don't pay attention.
Well, I like Mark Miller. If that's a more recent answer, I like Mark Miller. He likes to use curse words a lot, which that's neither here nor there. But he's really good. He writes stories that I relate to, and I will forever be endeared to Kick-Ass because in the comic book, not in the movie, but in the comic book, there was one panel where the main character says his favorite band is the Goo Goo Dolls. And I am forever endeared to Mark Miller and his comics because of that. Because they are my favorite band ever. So
fair enough. Yeah, I feel really bad because I don't often pay attention to writers, and I know I should. I mostly pay attention to artists, but even still, I don't pay that much attention. Warren Ellis is really good. I liked what he did with Moon Knight. But yeah, basically, those are the only ones I can come up with off the top of my head. So I hope that is a sufficient answer. All right. Ooh, I love this question. This is from Catherine Gates again. Out of the three of you, who would be the hero, the sidekick, and the villain?
Bryce would be the sidekick, I think.
Yeah. Well, now, which one of us is the hero and the villain? I'll go ahead and gladly say that I'm the villain because...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I was going to say I'm the villain.
Oh, man. It's a complicated one where you don't know which one's the hero and which one's the villain.
It depends on your perspective of, do you think you're the good guy? Because usually the villains, well, except in cases like the Joker, but, some villains, they actually believe they're the good guys. Yeah. So it's a matter of perspective.
Which I'm sure Joker actually, at least sometimes, thinks he's doing the right thing.
Right.
But there are definitely times where he knows that he's just...
just being a jerk,
Yeah. So... I guess the real answer is there is no hero in this dynamic. It's just villains and sidekicks.
Well, we'd have to have a situation, we'd have to have a conflict.
Yeah, somebody propose like a scenario that would happen, like a realistic scenario that would happen with NerdSync. Yeah, like we're trying to record a podcast over an open volcano and suddenly a monster, like a robot attacks. And then
we're recording a podcast over the volcano.
It's not really good for acoustics, but
you can yell into the volcano
as well. Yeah, it's not great.
Is it an active volcano?
I think so, but also it's fictional, so it could be whatever you want. It could be a volcano that shoots out jetpacks. For all
that would be sweet.
It doesn't have to be lava. All right, here we go. Trailer talk. Do you like the Batman v Superman trailer, or was the Fantastic Four trailer better? This is from David Yakubu. Neither one of them was like spectacular for me,
really?
In all honesty. I only watched each one once, and I meant to watch Batman v Superman again. But I guess if I had to pick one, I'd say Batman v Superman. But it's just... there wasn't a lot going on that interested me in that trailer, I guess. I don't know. What do you think?
The Fantastic Four trailer was definitely intriguing. Still a little jaded about the changes to the characters, but I'm gonna have to go with the Batman Superman trailer because I love Zack Snyder and I love his imagery and his just his whole thing. And I think Man of Steel held him back a little bit because Nolan was involved. They wanted to play it safe, that time around. But I love
Nolan
Zack
involved
Snyder.
with Batman v Superman.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think David Goyer who is also from that kind of dream team. But yeah, I loved the trailer for Batman v Superman. It looks like Zack Snyder at his best. So I'm gonna have to go with that one.
Yeah, I think Fantastic Four. People have been saying that it was because if you remember, because this happened very recently, about 1.5 million trailers were released all at the same time to things like Star Wars and Jurassic Park and Batman v Superman and Fantastic Four, and I feel like there was another one, but I don't remember. There were just a ton of trailers released, and I think Fantastic Four was weird because I read a whole bunch of comments online saying like that was by far the best trailer of all of the trailers that were released, and I still think I liked the Star Wars trailer more than all of the other trailers that came out, if I'm being honest. But man, Fantastic Four, I think it looks like it's either gonna be just super bland and horrible, or it's gonna be, like, I can only imagine it being really bland and horrible, or so bad that it's good. I don't know. I can't picture it actually being legitimately good for some reason. And I'd be happy to be wrong about that. I would love it to be like an actual good movie, but it just hasn't captured me yet. So.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. Batman v Superman looked pretty okay. I want to see more stuff.
Pretty okay.
Pretty okay. That's my favorite description of anything.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Next question. There's a couple that we've tackled on podcasts before, so I want to stay away from those and give people more new stuff. Let's see. I don't know. Do you see any that you like? Or are you looking at all?
I'm looking. Is there a NerdSync merch store?
Oh, yeah. We should answer that one. Where's that question at? Here it is. Okay.
Couple scrolls.
Yes. Lewis Wiseman, is there a NerdSync merch store? Now, I've tried to set stuff up about 1 million times on 1 million different websites. And the problem is I can't ever imagine that anyone would want to buy any NerdSync merch, in my honest opinion. I thought what if I did, because we don't have any like cool, I don't know. All I have is the NerdSync logo and the Comic Misconceptions logo. Yeah. Here's the thing though, if you're an artist and you want to like make t-shirts or whatever, I would absolutely love a t-shirt that is it's Mopey, the character Mopey, the official NerdSync mascot, and it's him with like the hashtag under it that says like it's always Mopey. I think that would be really fun. So if you want to draw that in any style that fits you, whether it's like cartoony or minimalist or whatever, send it to me. I want to turn that into a t-shirt. And we'll probably, I guess that's the biggest thing that's holding us back with the NerdSync merch store is that we just don't have anything that we think is interesting that we'd want to sell you guys. Like, I could put the NerdSync logo on a coffee mug, but like, okay. Like, I don't know if that would be interesting if anyone would actually buy that. But yeah, so that's the thing. We'll eventually work something out. I guess I would just like more things to offer. So if you have any ideas with that as well, then there you go. Cool. Other ones. Here's kind of an interesting one that I'm sure we've maybe talked about, but I can't remember. Oh, it disappeared from me. Here we go. This is from Rue F. Worst comic book movie in your opinion, also worst superhero villain. and comic book series. It's hard to pick a worst comic book series because, number one, I haven't read them all. And also, I usually don't finish any that are really bad. I can name you a couple bad ones that I tried reading recently that I didn't particularly care for. Namely, Axis was a Marvel event that I just couldn't get through the first issue. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. But worst comic book movie?
That's a question we can answer, right?
That's a question that we can answer. I always say the worst one is Elektra because I always forget that was a movie, and it felt like I feel like it was. I almost felt like it was a made-for-TV movie, and I don't know if that. True. I don't remember any trailers for it or it coming out in theaters. I only remember it popping up on TV, and I was like, "Oh, this is a thing that happened." I don't remember that. Catwoman was also bad. Apparently, I just really hate female-driven superhero movies. That's not true. Don't take that away. Don't have that be the takeaway in this. Yeah. That's not true at all. It's just they've been not great, guys.
Yeah, Elektra. I mean, I watched it once and I don't remember any of it.
Yeah,
like it was very forgettable. My other answer would be the second Fantastic Four movie for one reason being that Galactus was a big fart cloud. Had it actually been Galactus, would have been great, but no, no.
Green Lantern was similar in the sense that Parallax was this big space cloud, and he looked like a cartoon character. I was just talking with someone on Twitter earlier today about how everything in Green Lantern looked like a cartoon, and not really realistic at all. And the editing was weird, and the pacing. But I say this all the time when we're talking about worst things. Just like what you like, and don't worry about what idiots like me say, because you do you, I'll do me. But yeah, worst. How about they also say worst superhero and villain. I don't want to say worst superhero.
I mean, like a bad idea, not a very.
Yeah, it depends on what worst means, like whether you mean like least effective superhero or like my personal one that I don't like to read or one that was just bad execution. Don't
know.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I don't particularly like to read Superman comics, but he's not a bad superhero. Like in real life, I'm sure he'd be incredibly effective as a superhero. Yeah. But I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm trying to think of Marvel bad.
Yeah, I'm racking my brain here.
You only remember the really good ones, I feel like.
The struggle.
Yep. Let's just say they're all terrible, and we hate comic books. That's what we're saying.
We're shutting down this broadcast. We hate comic.
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining. That'll be it. No. We have been talking for like an hour. How long do you have to be free? I never talked to you about this.
I'm pretty much free, growing hungrier by the minute, but I'm pretty much free for as long as ever.
Okay. Do you want to do like another half hour and then see where we are from there? Does that sound good? Yeah. All right. Let's at least do that. If any of our friends out there, like Ricky or Chris Prime, are watching, feel free to hop on or text me, and we will take you on here to have another voice to this thing. Let's see. Here's a fun one. This is from Lazar Lilik again. Which is your favorite fake location from the comics? Wakanda, Latveria, Asgard, Metropolis, Gotham, that kind of stuff. I guess I would have to say Asgard isn't fake because I was gonna say I don't know. Fake location. There's got to be like a really interesting alternate reality out there that I find neat, or fake city of some kind that is interesting, or everybody is upside down. I don't know.
We already have that.
Do you have any off the top of your head?
You know, if you lived in Australia, everything's upside down.
Australia is my favorite fake location from the comics.
Australia doesn't exist. Are we sticking to strictly Marvel and DC comics, or can I get broad?
Oh yeah, you can. I'm sure you can do whatever you want. We're in charge here.
Well, technically, since Star Wars has comic books, I'm going to say the Old Republic in Star Wars.
That's a good one.
Because even though the Old Republic is not canon anymore, according to Disney, Mickey Mouse, I think the Old Republic was a pretty fascinating time in the Star Wars universe. I would like to live there.
I will say, along with that, because Mass Effect is comics, and I love the world of Mass Effect.
I want to change mine.
I love the world of Mass Effect. No. I'm gonna go with that.
Gosh.
But also, I know that in the world of Mass Effect, there's always the constant threat of Reapers, and so that also sounds pretty terrible.
Well, we can just have the headcanon, and you're on board the Normandy, you know. And then instead of Joker hooking up with Edie, it's you instead. So you can headcanon whatever you want, you know.
Yeah. Sorry. Ricky wanted to join, so I'm trying to invite him currently. But I always have trouble inviting people to Google Hangouts, and I don't know why.
I had trouble joining before we started.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. We'll figure it out. Let's see. Here we go. Back to Lazar Lilic because he's asking all the good questions. Is Mopey the creator of NerdSync?
Maybe.
That's up to you to decide. The secret origin of the real origin of NerdSync is that Mopey created. Yeah. Doesn't Chris look like he could be Mopey?
I guess.
That's him. That's Mopey, everybody. If Mopey were to make a live action appearance in a movie or TV show, he'd be played by Chris Anderson.
Right.
I'm trying to invite Ricky some more, and it's just not working. And I'm getting really frustrated with it. But in the meantime, let's try to answer another question. Here's one. Trevor Moore asks, on the podcast, you said your goal for this year would be to get 100,000 subscribers. Now that you have blown that out of the water, will you make a new goal? And if so, can you do it on the air? 100,000 was not our goal this year.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember what our goal was, Chris?
200,000?
250,000. That was our goal. So that is our current goal for this year, and hopefully we'll reach it. I mean, according to Social Blade, which is how we tracked when we'd get 100,000, which happened earlier than expected. It was supposed to happen today. It happened a couple days ago. They said we would get 250,000 by the end of this year, by December sometime. Right. So I think it's definitely doable. You know what? I'm going to try to invite Ricky in a different fashion and see if this works. Sorry, everybody. I just think it'd be really fun to have another person on. Cool. I invited him a lot of places. Well, I've invited him to one place. I invited him in a lot of different ways. All right, next question, I guess. Let's see. Here we go. Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander?
You know what? I always went with Squirtle in the original Pokemon games, just because everybody picks Charmander, so I got to be different. And Bulbasaur, he's a plant. I felt like that's kind of weak. I mean, I'm just speaking strictly in a personal sense. I like Squirtle. I think turtles are cool, so I always went with Squirtle.
Fair enough. I was one of those people that started with Charmander. But I'm also like a very logical person, and I thought it would be super easy to beat the first couple of gym leaders if I started with Bulbasaur. So I think more often than not, I started with Bulbasaur, and then I just felt like maybe I'm not the biggest fan of Bulbasaur, but it's gonna make battling Brock and Misty just a ton easier.
Well, that's a pretty good strategy to take, because I mean, once you level them up a good bit, they're powerful regardless. They're always your most powerful Pokemon. So, just depends on your personal preference.
That's true. Although I do like the idea of playing like a randomized game and then starting with whatever random Pokemon that they give you that's not one of those three. But I don't. Right. I mean, I haven't played past the second generation, so don't Don't ask me any more questions about Pokemon.
I tried to get back into Pokemon, like on totally on a whimsy. I went and bought like one of the newer Pokemon games, and I was so lost. I haven't played one since like Pokemon Blue, and I was so lost. I was like, I don't know what any of these Pokemon are. This is stupid. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, I tried to play Fire Red, and I was just I just want regular red. Like I'm not one of those people who's like nostalgic for things that were in my childhood. I don't remember my childhood very much, and I'm not nostalgic like at all. Yeah. But it was just, I don't know. I had this personal preference to be like, I would just much rather play the original than play a reboot.
I think I played a good bit of one called Soul Silver. That was kind of interesting, but I've never really fully delved into one since the old days when it first came out. That was like the height of its popularity, so at least it seemed like it was.
Here's a good question for you, Chris.
Okay, ready.
Cheesy Silver Age Legion of Superheroes movie, yes or hell yes? Now I know that you are you want a Legion of Doom movie for sure.
Yeah, I do.
Or at least for them to show up in somewhere.
Yes, I want the whole, the announcer and the Darth Vader looking thing rising out of the swamp, and the the transition from the cartoon. I want it all.
Yes, that would be great. I'm a little upset that I can't get Ricky to join. I've been wasting like 7 minutes trying to get him in here, and I don't know why it's not working. Oh well, I'll send the last invite and hope it works. Or I bet. I wonder if this works. 2 seconds.
Actually, the whole Legion of Superheroes thing was what I originally was hoping DC would go for, because I feel like that is the definitive representation of what the characters should be. On a more serious note, that's what I honestly felt they should go with. Doesn't seem like they're doing that. Seems like they're going with their whole new age, armor for costumes kind of deal, but it's whatever.
Fair enough. All right. Sorry. Hold on. Bryce just texted me.
Earphones are a pain in the butt to use.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. All right. Apparently, Bryce has been without internet for 3 days, which is
how did he contact you?
Oh, I texted him.
So. Oh, yeah. I didn't see you looking at your phone. You're looking at the screen. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, right. So well, with Macs, right? People can text you, and it shows up on your computer, which is super convenient because I like typing with the full keyboard.
Fancy.
Yeah. Let's see. Other ones that I think are interesting questions. Let's see. Here's one by Raymond Yates. If you could look like any comic book character, who would you choose? So if you could look like them, who would you choose? Hands down, Aquaman. Like, that guy, he just looks so cool to me. Like, so regal, and yeah. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Aquaman. So that would be my thing. Chris, other than Mopey, what other comic book character would you want to look like?
I have no idea. No clue. I'm sorry. I have no thoughts. I already read that question, and I was trying to think, and I don't have a good answer.
All right. So I guess Mopey it is. That's the fallback to every question. If we can't think of an answer.
Hey, Ricky.
Ricky's here, I think. Maybe. Or he will be here at some point in time. Ricky's here. So that would be my thing. Chris, other than Mopey, what other time? I can hear myself I can hear the audio coming out of the computer. All right, I'll give him some time. I'll give you time to set up, and then we'll get back into stuff. Here, let's answer a question. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Nick V says, merch idea, NerdSync bow tie. I am on board, my friend. I think that is a clever idea. Chris, do you? Because you're notorious for like not watching any of the videos that I do. Do you know why a NerdSync bow tie is a good idea?
Doctor Who, I guess.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, sure, but I also do a series called Tie-ins where I wear a I wear a bow tie in videos sometimes. That's the slogan. So I just want everyone to know this is how much communication goes on with us at NerdSync, that Chris has no idea that I did a video series where I wear bow ties. So that should give you some insight. All right. Ricky, how you doing over there?
Doing well. Thanks for answering my Deadpool question. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, everybody, this is Ricky. He is on a lot of things that we've done before, and also on his own channel and everything called Stu Dippin'. So watch it. And now you're here joining us for the next 20 minutes, I guess, after we wasted 10 minutes trying to get you on here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It wasn't until you texted me that I was actually able to find the link, because I wasn't getting any notification from anywhere else.
That's weird. I was sending it like, oh yeah, I was sending you all sorts of invitations to both Ricky and to Stu Dippin', and like doing all sorts of stuff, and I couldn't figure it out. But I'm glad that you were able to make it. Do you see any questions on the sidebar that you'd want to answer?
Let me see. I did see one earlier, but it disappeared.
FYI, Ricky is an honorary NerdSync member. Which is why we invited him on. So, yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. That I know you'll appreciate. By Deadpool 3257. Let's see. I don't know how to make it go up into a thing. But they say, what is your favorite topic to research?
Ooh, here, here we go. Found it. Right here. What is your favorite topic to research? My favorite topic to research is not comic book related at all. My favorite topic to research is anything about the brain. I think the brain is an incredibly fascinating thing from both a psychology standpoint, philosophy, and just the science of how the brain works. I think is just super interesting, and then trying to find a way to relate those stuff back into comic books so I can just talk about stuff and I don't know that's kind of how I do it. Is I learn stuff, and then I try to figure out how I can relate it to comic books so that I can talk about that stuff that I learned. So the human brain or not even the human brain, just brains in general. Zombies. I'm a zombie. I like brains. Chris, do you like researching in any capacity?
Yeah, I guess. I don't necessarily have a favorite topic. I do a lot of research on my favorite movies and things like that. Figuring out the story behind it. As far as behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. Oh, behind the scenes stuff is so much fun to research. Are you kidding me? Did you learn anything interesting recently that you'd want to share? Or
I read Cracked a lot. I learn a lot of interesting stuff on Cracked.
Oh my gosh, Cracked
Nothing
is my
specific.
Favorite. What about you, Ricky? Research anything recently?
Not recently, but my favorite thing is kind of like Chris. I like behind the scenes things. Like when I first got my Scott Pilgrim Blu-ray, I just watched the 3 hours worth of DVD extras immediately. As far as research goes, I love communication in relationship stuff. That's the thing. I love getting nerdy about those kinds of things and just how it works. I took a course in college called Communication and Lasting Relationships, which is basically a class about dating, and I was never more determined to get an A in my life. I was I'm going to understand everything about this. And I love those kinds of things.
That's awesome. I mean, I recently finished an audiobook called The Most Human, which is amazing, and it talks about it's for a video that I'm doing in the future, and it talks about what artificial intelligence can teach us about what it means to be human, and it goes all over the place, from like communication skills, what the law says about being human, and philosophy, psychology, technology, culture, all that stuff, and it's just so fascinating that I almost don't want to make a video about anything. I just want to say, everybody read this book right now because it's really good. And but yeah, I mean, that's basically what I try to listen to audiobooks and do lots of TED Talks and that kind of stuff. So that's that question. Got a few more minutes here. Anybody see anything else that they think is interesting? We already talked about the Batman v Superman trailer, but Ricky, you can give us your thoughts if you have any.
Yeah.
I was super excited about it. For no other reason than just seeing how awesome Batman looked. Like, Batman was just the best part about the whole entire trailer.
Right.
Like, I said, yeah. We've seen Superman, and yes, he looks like he looks so massive. He looks exactly like how I'm forgetting. Is it Bruce Timm? Is that his style? Is that the director?
Yeah, I think so.
He looks exactly how Bruce Timm draws him. He's just like, So he's the size of 2, maybe 2.5 human beings, and that's just his basic.
Just mass. Just yeah, as a human being. Yeah.
So he looks huge, but then Batman comes out. I'm just like, oh. And then when they tweeted out those pictures, I'm like, I'm sorry, is this directly from the comic books, or is this Ben Affleck? If it's Ben Affleck, make that today. Make 20 today.
Wasn't it originally supposed to come out this year?
I think they pushed it back a year.
Yeah, they pushed it back, which was disappointing. But at least hopefully they can work on it more. Because in the trailer they had that statue with the Superman statue, and it looked like very obviously fake to me, and I was kind of disappointed by that. But hopefully they can work on more stuff in the next year to get the effects looking good. All right, let's see here. This is kind of an interesting question. This is by Raymond Yates again. If you could hire a comic book character for a week, who would you choose? If I could hire one, personally, right now, I probably shouldn't say this because stuff. I'm looking into lawyers right now, so I would either hire Matt Murdock or She-Hulk, and then just to get lawyer stuff done because it's expensive. But I assume they're probably even super expensive. So. But that's not even hiring them as a hero. That's just hiring them as their profession. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what I would hire one for unless just to be my personal assistant. I don't know. It'd be a little demeaning unless you hire somebody who's actually an assistant of some sort.
Yeah, I might hire someone who's like really good with computers, and then that way I could just be like, hey, work on video editing and stuff like that while I do other things. But that's not exciting. That's not like I'm hiring, I don't know, Blink so that I can teleport places or go through portals and stuff like that. It seems weird to hire someone with that, like, just as their superhero abilities. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
If it was kind of one of those things where it's like, win a week of hanging out with Spider-Man kind of thing.
Oh yeah, if it was that, if it wasn't hiring, if it was who I would want to hang out with for a week.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, because I'm the same way. I'm just like, if anything, I would be like, hey, Spider-Man, I want to get this really sweet shot, so I'm going to strap this GoPro onto you. I want you to get, like, I think
true. That would be cool.
That would be that.
But I would probably pick like Green Lantern or somebody who can take me off world, and then I could just see outer space and just hang out on different planets. Or just in that case, I could just say the Doctor and hang out with him for a week.
Because how long is a week with the Doctor?
It could be any amount of time. It could be forever.
Yes.
It's a good answer. Chris, who would you hang out with for a week?
Too many choices. I don't know, really. I mean, are we hanging out in the real world, or am I hanging out in their world?
That's a good question. If it's their world, you can expect danger all of the time. If it's our world, it would just be like a breeze to hang out with. So it really depends on whether you want to just chill or if you want an adventure.
You see, I don't have any superpowers, so that might be dangerous.
Gotcha. And neither does Batman, and he's never
I'm
worried.
also not a martial arts expert with billions of dollars.
That's true.
I don't know. That's a hard question for me to answer.
But, hey, if you hung out with Batman and he had those billions of dollars, you could just hang out and be like, hey, man, can you mind, like, buying lunch? And he'd be like, oh, yeah, dude, I'll buy the entire restaurant.
No, that's a good answer. I'll ask him if he can loan me a few bucks, maybe give me my own personal Batman suit, train me or something.
Perfect.
Yeah. Hey, Batman, you mind paying off some of my student loans?
Yes, please.
Man,
pay
you're
some
my
bills.
best friend, Batman.
Pay off my car, please.
So that's the like the non-superpower answer. We just want to hang out with people for their money, which that's real life, I think. We have time for a couple more questions. Let's see. Here, I'm going to scroll down a little bit further so I can answer people who maybe don't have a lot of.
Oh, here's one. All right,
Go
this
for
is
it.
David Yakubu, and he
All
said,
right.
if you could marry any superhero, who would you pick?
Ooh, interesting. I'm trying to find the question so I can highlight it. Can you select it on your end, or is there not a big select button?
There is not a big select button.
All right. I'm trying to find it. I found, but all right. Who would I marry was the question?
Yeah, if you could marry any superhero, who would you pick?
My instinctive answer was to say Kitty Pryde, but that's just because
Really?
she's awesome and I love her. So that's
that's
for no other reason than that.
yeah. There's a lot of choices in that realm.
Aha, found it. All right.
I don't know. I don't know about her personality, but I think Mystique would be a good option because then, she could be whoever
Variety?
you want. You could be whoever you want.
That's a good answer.
Either that or Wonder Woman, but if you make her mad, she might crush you between her
That's true.
thighs.
Probably not
She
great.
could crush you like a grape. She could really hurt you and do things. So I don't know.
Yeah. Ricky?
I would have to say Gwen Stacy.
Oh, that's a good one. That's
For
a really good one.
several reasons. A, like pretty much any version of Gwen Stacy, like I love Gwen Stacy when she was in Spectacular Spider-Man. And I really like her character in the Amazing Spider-Man series. And Emma Stone.
There you go. No further explanation needed.
Yeah, because that would be.
Man, I might have to change my answer, but no. You know what? I'll let you have Gwen Stacy.
Thank you.
Although it pains me, I will let you. I will choose Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, because she's also one of those characters that's like really smart. I don't know. I don't know if this is revealing a bit. I'm like really attracted to smart women, and that's just. And so when there's a comic book character who is like super smart, with like Batgirl has the photographic memory, and obviously Gwen Stacy's pretty smart as well. Pretty smart. I don't know. I just feel like that's So those would be my options. Would be female characters who are smart. I will go with Batgirl.
Yeah.
Then. Let's see. We maybe have time for a few more. I'm scrolling down really far so that I can find people who haven't had the opportunity to be called on because we've been doing a couple. Oh, so we have a couple questions that are basically the same, which are, what's this giant thing behind me? This is a tripod. It's an enormous tripod, yes. This is from Orem Alexander. He has his own comic book channel as well. Everyone check it out. So I don't know what it's called, but I had to get this giant tripod because the other tiny tripod that I was using was it would wobble. If you watch some of the earlier episodes from this year, it would wobble a lot because I was moving around and it was very top heavy, so I had to buy this like really expensive heavy duty one that used up just about an entire YouTube paycheck. So, but it's great and I love it, and it has not wobbled for me since, so that's good. I don't know what it's called, the brand or anything, so there you go. Let's see. Anyone see any other questions that they think are interesting?
Most of them are just people kind of catching up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Someone asking, when does this finish? It's
Probably in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Someone said,
Ooh, okay. I have another one whenever you're.
it's this one should just be very quick. It's Low Lexi, and she says, "Did you see the tiny Ant-Man billboards?"
Yes, I did.
I didn't. No.
Yeah, that's a clever marketing campaign.
So
That
basically,
sounds super interesting.
basically what they did is like right next to like a plant, you'll see a billboard that's about like this big, and it's just like a Ant-Man billboard, and it's just like
That's so nice. I like that.
yeah.
That's really interesting. All right, here I have a really. Here we go. This is also from Orem again. Who's your favorite comic book YouTuber? And no, this isn't a trap. So other than NerdSync, because we all know that's our favorite. Who's our favorite comic book YouTuber? I say hands down, Mr. Sunday. He's great. He's hilarious. He has an accent. Well, I mean, we all do, but he has a better one than I do, and he's great. So I say go check him out. Yeah, he's not just comic books either. Comic books and movies. So does anyone else have any other ones that they watch?
Favorite comic book YouTuber?
Yes, you can't say Game Grumps because I know that was what you were going
I
to
don't
say.
do comic books. I don't really have one. I'm sorry.
All right, fair enough.
I'll say variant / comic historian, and the reason is because I've been following Eris for a while, even in the film riot. Just knowing of him there, I'm like, oh wow, this is the same guy. But also, I really like comic historian because, for me, I'm a fairly cheap nerd, and so I don't buy comics or video games like when they come out. Like I'll wait a really long time for them to be super super cheap on Amazon or super super cheap at like half price books. And so being able to still be like have enough information about like a storyline helps me to like feel a part of it and be able to have some kind of opinion about it. And so I like that because it's just like, oh great, I get to catch up on Spider-Verse, and then I really do want to read it afterwards. So
yeah, I would say that's really convenient for me as well because I'm so busy researching stuff that I don't have time to stay current with comic books. So it's really nice to have someone be like, hey, here's the full story arc of this, and just in case you didn't read it, and I'm like, thank you, I needed that. So for example. Yeah, just like a lot of Avengers stuff I haven't read, so he'll post a lot of that stuff, a comic story and well, which is really nice. And then I like Eris as well because he's a good friend, and he does recommendations which are really nice. So like if he'll do a character origin, he'll be like, hey, if you want to know more about this character, read these things. And I'm like, that's really good because some of them I haven't heard of before, and I'm always looking for good stories to read about characters. So. We maybe have time for one more question.
All right, I'll add this one real quick. So, Lazar Lilac said, "Just hire Howard the Duck and call it a day."
Yes.
I like that.
I will absolutely. I want to. If I could, that's what we would do. I don't know. Are any of you guys reading his new series? It's actually fairly good.
I wanted to, but I meant to go out and buy the issue, and I guess it just slipped by me.
Yeah.
I'm not a very good nerd, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm not current. I'm not caught up on comic books at the moment either. I read whatever's applicable to the next episode of Comic Misconceptions, and then I try to read at least a few comics a week, but I'm just like super far behind on everything. All right, let's find like a really good one to end on. Let's see.
I think I hit the bottom.
Oh yeah. Trying to find some more of them. This is not exciting for anybody watching. I know. We're just trying to find one amazing last question that we could end on. So there's one that somebody asked that's. I'll just answer a couple of them as I'm going through. Yes, I do listen to the Weekly Planet. It's great. Let's see. Just wanted to do that. I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Oh, this is a pretty good one.
Okay.
I don't know if I will be able to public it, but I just plus one day. It has like 11 likes, and it disappeared. But it, basically asking, and I'm sorry, person, I can't give you credit because it disappeared on me. But if you could give a Green Lantern ring to anyone in the Marvel universe, who would it be?
Yes, this is Axman7281.
Yeah, I think I kind of answered that on a previous podcast.
Yeah. Who did you give it? Well, you gave a Yellow Lantern ring to Venom.
Yeah.
But if you give a Green Lantern ring to anyone in the Marvel universe, I found a really good one to end on. All right, sorry. All right, so if I can give a Green Lantern ring to anyone in the Marvel universe, I would say anyone with imagination. Well, didn't we already? Someone said Taskmaster on a podcast that we did, which would be interesting. I think Bryce said give it to Taskmaster, which would be neat. You would need to be someone with like a big imagination. So probably don't give it to Deadpool, because his mind would just go all over the place.
Yeah. that would be pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
I would say Reed Richards or Iron Man.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, Iron Man there was the Amalgam comics where Iron Man was a Green Lantern as well. So that is a thing that happened. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll say give it to Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, gosh, yeah, they're not gonna win.
All right, I have one that I do want to end on because it's a pretty funny one, and here we go. This is Kiss, Marry, Kill 3 comic book characters. It's gonna get uncomfortable, guys. All right, I got to.
Yeah, I need to look at some books or some movies or something.
All right, let's see. I don't know. Mary. All right, I'm gonna say kiss Batgirl, marry Aquaman.
No, Scott, you can't marry Aquaman.
Hold on now. He's a great husband.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, guys. I like Aquaman. Shut up. Who would I kill?
You kill me.
I would kill Deadpool, if I'm being honest.
He can't be killed. Deadpool can't be killed.
I know, but that's my options. Kiss Batgirl, marry Aquaman, kill Deadpool.
I'm gonna say I would kiss Vampirella. I think she's pretty hot. Who would I marry? I don't know. They all lead pretty colorful lives.
Yeah,
I don't think any of them would be that faithful. They'd have other obligations like kicking bad guys' butts.
True.
Who would I kill? I guess I would kill Thanos because he causes a lot of problems.
All right then. Why not Galactus and then just save the entire universe from having to deal with all that?
Well, yeah, I guess I would kill Galactus, but I kind of like.
Also has lots of.
I kind of like the concept of Galactus though, because he brings everybody together to work together. What's the other one? There's what's his name? He's a combination of Magneto and Professor X. He's a bad guy.
Is it Zorn?
No, it's
Who am I thinking of?
Oh, what is it?
Yeah. He was in Marvel vs. Capcom as the end
Oh.
boss.
Is
He's
it?
a pretty
Who
bad
played him?
dude.
I can't remember it.
Hang on, I will Google it.
Okay.
I'll
Well,
give
he does his.
I would marry.
Emma Watson.
Yeah, I would marry Gwen Stacy. I almost said Emma Watson.
Onslaught is his name. Onslaught.
There it is.
Onslaught. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, he's a pretty bad dude. I would take him out.
Oh yeah. So I would marry Gwen Stacy. I would kiss, because she is a comic book character, Ramona Flowers.
There you go.
And who would I kill? I would kill. I know this sounds like a supervillain thing to say, but I would kill Superman. Like mainly because.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. And here's why. Max Landis did a thing on just like the death of Superman, and like I think that Superman in that comic should have died, and that there should have been implications of there no longer being Superman. And I think that that actually would have been a great storyline to follow, kind of similar to like what they did with Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe. Like Peter Parker dying doesn't mean that the Spider-Man legacy has to die, but it does mean that someone else does need to rise up and be that character. I think they did the same with like Battle for the Cowl when they killed Batman. And so I just think that if Superman could have died and stayed dead in that comic, that they could have had more interesting stories.
That would have been interesting. You know, we're going to be doing a podcast soon, I think, with Mr. Sunday in the next few whenevers, where we're going to be doing what-if stories, like making up our own what-if stories and alternate universe stories, Elseworld stuff. And I think it would be really interesting to explore the idea of, like, what if Superman actually did stay dead, and, like, how the heroes would react and how the world would react. That would be interesting. I'm actually, now that I say it, I feel like there has been a comic where that happened, but I don't know for sure. And if not, then get on that, people. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
So you would only want to kill him, not because you hate him, but just because you think it'd be interesting to...
Well, I mean...
Also, you don't like Superman.
Characters.
So I'm more fictional, it's fine, you can kill them.
Yeah, so mainly for that reason only.
All right. Cool. Well, that'll take care of that. There are a lot of great questions popping up that unfortunately we won't be able to get to because I do have to go places. Chris, I know that you have to eat food.
Yeah, I haven't eaten like all day. I'm hungry.
And I don't know what Ricky's plans are, but I don't want to keep you any longer than you need to be. So, well, really quickly, Ricky, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on most places, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, StuDippin', and you can find me on Twitter at Ricky_II.
Yep. And then you make a lot of appearances on the podcast and we've done a collab before, and you were on the Deadpool video that we did, so that was fun. Yeah, you're all over the place, which is good. And Chris, you never plug anything. Do you have anything to plug?
I don't have anything to plug. I do tweet quite a bit at Chris_Tuffer, TUFFER. I don't really have anything to plug yet, maybe in the future.
Fair enough. And you can find me on Twitter, where I tweet way more than I should, at Scott Nicewonder, just my name, SCOTTNISWANDER. It's a mouthful. And then, of course, the NerdSync Twitter as well, and NerdSync on Facebook and I said Facebook. I was going to say Facebook again. You can find us there on Facebook for sure, but Twitter and all I don't know. We're just NerdSync everywhere. Just search for that. I'm also on Instagram stuff. I'm terrible at plugging things. All right. With that said, thank you guys for everyone who wrote in the questions and watched and joined, and for just participating. And thank you genuinely for 100,000 subscribers, which is bananas. And completely, I honestly didn't think that we would ever get this high, but it's really cool. Anyone have any other closing words to say?
Thanks for tuning in.
There you go.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on pretty last minute, or after the last minute. You was in the middle of the things. All right. Well, we'll try to do. I like these Q&As. I want to see if I can set up more of them in the future, but I make no promises. Sorry, Bryce couldn't be here, but really, that's your benefit, I think.
Sorry, Bryce. We don't mean it.
We will end on that. Thank you, everyone, and just bye. I guess I don't have a sign off.
Peace.
So, other than see ya is what I normally say. So, see ya.